Okay, ready?
Best way to start ever.
Yeah,
Sure.
wakes you right up.
This is Due to Underwhelming Demand, the podcast with Dave, Rachel, and Forman. Perfect for your pool party, by the way, because we won't pee in your pool.
We will not.
No.
We do not want that. We don't want to swim in it.
Nope.
But we will not pee in your pool.
No, we will not do that. So
You
here
can
we
invite
are.
us and we will find a toilet.
And by the way, today's podcast,
Or grass.
This podcast is brought to you by the book Never Give Up by Jan Everett,
Okay.
which is celebrating its 10th anniversary as we speak.
Wow.
As this podcast is being released, and we're going to tell you more about this very special book
Okay.
a little later in the podcast. It's called
okay.
Never Give Up by Jan Everett.
Never
okay?
give up. All right. I can't wait to learn more about it.
Truly a book for children of all ages.
That's right.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
actually just read it and it's very cute.
It's really good.
It's a cute book.
It's a good book.
Okay, it's it's summer. It's not the first day of summer, but it's the first week as we're recording this, the first week of summer.
Mm-hmm.
So my kids were off as of June 30th. I don't know, how late did your kids go to school, Forman?
It's June 30th.
June
Same.
30th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so June 30th was the first day of summer vacation for us. And my husband took the day off. So the kids, he said, what are we going to do that day, you girls? Like, what do you want to do? They planned a whole day.
For the first day of summer.
For the first day of summer, because
Okay.
it's a big day. It was
Sure.
a Friday.
Oh, yeah.
So Jeremy took the day off because it was a long weekend. So he could make it an extra long weekend.
Sure.
They had a whole list planned out. And it was an exhausting day for him. So they wrote it all out like a week ahead. They were planning. The two of them were in cahoots about it. And they were kind of keeping it from us. And then eventually Julian knew that I was going to be working that day. Because when you're self-employed, you don't really take vacation. So unfortunately. But it's okay. It's a good problem to have. So she showed me the list that she'd written out on her iPad in her notes section. Because that's how she does it now, right? We don't write things on paper anymore. We just use our iPads for everything. So number one was waking up in the morning and having breakfast in bed. They would get breakfast in bed from us, I guess.
Oh,
bad idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so that started the day. And I
Yeah.
said, but you guys wake up earlier than we do. Like, you guys are usually up at 6 a.m. and we'll throw you a phone for another hour and then we'll get up. Because it's just... And she's like, well, we'll wait. We'll wait for you. And I'm like, okay, well, you wait for us. So that was number one. And number two was then they would come downstairs and it was just called Get Us Stuff.
Okay.
So number two on the list was Get Us Stuff, which was
No,
just
actually.
us fetching things
Nope.
Oh.
for
okay.
them. I'm not
All right.
sure
Terrible
how
idea.
that's
This-
any different from regular life.
Yeah, how is this any different than
my
any
whole
other day?
life is just fetching things for them.
That's right.
But
And-
this was
and but-
basically for Dad.
And it doesn't really get a whole lot better when they become teenagers. Just
No.
letting you know.
It was just
it doesn't.
get
No.
us stuff.
Yeah.
Mom and Dad will give us breakfast in bed and then they're going to get us things. Like whatever. And I'm like, what do you mean get us things? And she's like we'll lie on the couch and have a bell. And I was like, no,
That's
we are not doing that.
No.
That's
I am not your servant. I know you think that I am
wow.
because that's your everyday life, but that's not happening.
Okay.
So
See,
we didn't quite get to that.
I feel like they think it's their birthday, not the
I
first
know.
day of summer. What
Yeah.
is that? I mean,
I don't really know why. Dad gave them this carte blanche, like whatever, what do you guys want to
Sure.
do?
yeah.
And whatever, or carte blanche. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
Blanche, yes.
Blanche?
Sure.
Blanc is
Blanche.
white.
Blanche.
Carte blanche. Anyway, so that was
Different
number
kind
two.
of living situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Number three was pool dash. Everyone has to. Everyone had to swim,
Okay.
which didn't
Okay.
happen. They swam, but we didn't
Yeah.
swim. I
Well,
was
Dad's
working.
going to be too tired from fetching things all morning.
Yeah, that's right.
He needs to sit.
Wow.
That's right.
Was
And
it a warm day? I don't even remember. I mean, was it hot
yeah,
enough to
it was-
swim?
I think
Okay.
so.
Okay.
I think.
That's
Well,
good.
they did go in the pool. Dad didn't go in the pool, and I didn't. So not everyone went in the pool.
Okay.
That didn't happen.
All right.
Breakfast in bed also didn't happen, but they did have breakfast on the couch. So that was kind of a compromise.
Okay. All right.
Once
okay.
everybody
What
was
kind of
up and
breakfast do they have on the couch? Bowl of
around.
cereal?
Like dry cereal is what they really don't eat very much. Like my kids.
So breakfast in bed's really not that difficult.
No, and we
Yeah.
were kind of like, you're just going to get crumbs in your bed, and then
Yeah.
you have to sleep in it, and then somebody has to wash the sheets, and who's that going to be? Me.
Just put a little plate
Or
of,
Jeremy.
of grains or pellets on the floor and they peck at it.
Yeah, basically. Like
I
they
just never have, to be honest with you, that's a whole different topic. I've never understood why anybody wants breakfast in bed. And the reason I say
Yeah.
that is if you've ever visited somebody in the hospital,
Yeah.
it's just,
But at
Why
least at
would
the
you want
hospital,
that?
they have the trays that go over the bed.
They know
Like,
what
it's
they're doing.
actually, and the bed can sit up.
yeah.
Like even when we do breakfast in bed for Mother's Day, Father's Day, whatever, we will bring the dinner up, bring the breakfast up to my husband, say Happy Father's Day, and then we all go down to the table and eat. Like
Yes.
he brings it back down.
yeah, you don't want
He
to eat it
doesn't
in
eat
bed.
there.
Why?
Yeah, because you can't
Yeah.
cut your pancakes or whatever you're having. Anyway.
Breakfast in bed.
Okay, so number 3 was pool. Everyone has to. Then number 4 was lunch pizza. I can't remember if they might
That's
have had
all right.
pizza.
Lunch
That was
pizza's
fine.
okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Number 5 was indoor mini golf, glow in the dark mini golf.
Oh,
so there-
do you have that?
There's only one place in London that has that Fleetway, which is very far from us.
Oh.
So they did go there.
Yeah.
Fleetway has that, so they did go there. The next one was bowling, but I think they all went and did that, and then they decided bowling was probably too. We didn't have time for bowling. Like,
I
this was
see.
a
Okay.
jam-packed day already.
Okay, yeah. it's a
Then they were
big
coming
day.
back home, and it was pool. Everyone has to again, which
Right.
also didn't have time for. And then dinner, and you guys will love this. It was dinner, the keg, chosen by my children. Yeah.
They must see the stack of gift cards that you guys have lying around.
Wow.
They use them as toys. They figure we could actually use them at a restaurant.
The girls love going to the keg. And I have to tell you
Wow.
that we've been to the keg so often recently that it's now no longer a special outing.
No.
And we've gone twice, like the most, like when we went the other day, they still had the same special as from the time we were there before.
What was it? Steak?
No, it was the rack of lamb or something
Oh,
like that.
come on. At the keg?
Yes.
Who eats the lamb at the keg?
Well, not me, but it's like, who's ordering the chicken at the keg? You're there for
Yeah,
steak.
That's right. That's right.
Anyway, the kids asked
I go
me
to
to the keg.
KFC for the burger.
Yeah, so of all the things on the list, Jeremy and I were like, okay, we can get on board with the keg. Like that's good for all of us. It's not cheap.
Wow.
for
I just
4
feel
people.
like your poor children are so.
Basic.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know what to say.
How many
I mean,
kids are going to the keg very much? I don't know.
Well, yeah, but it's just, they're going to grow up thinking the keg's okay. When
Yeah, it is
there's-
okay. I like
There's so
it.
many, many options out there that aren't the keg.
Well, they haven't been to those
Uh-huh.
unless it's like a chain restaurant.
Uh-huh.
Like, well, the keg is too. Like Chuck's Roadhouse or something like that.
Yeah.
They didn't
Also,
pick that.
isn't that also owned by the keg? It's
Is
gotta
it?
be.
I don't know.
know.
I have no
Yeah, but it's
idea.
like half the price for
I know.
goodness sake.
Yes, or less. Jeez. Yeah. Anyway, that was our first day of summer. It was
Okay.
I was like, these guys are gonna love that. The kids asked to go to the keg.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it sounds like it
I
sucked
wouldn't have-
ass.
It does sound like it sucked ass.
No, it was a
Terrible.
great day actually.
Any
It
day
was a
that
great
ends
day.
at the keg is not
That
necessarily
was awesome.
great.
We thought that was great.
Just ask any employee if the keg.
Never mind your kids are
Well,
basic.
the waiter we had, I don't
Yes,
think was super thrilled to be there.
You're very basic.
Knew you'd love that.
My God, the keg.
Top it off with a Bud Light.
This is Due to Underwhelming Demand with Dave, Rachel, and Forman, the Potahawk Piss Up of podcast.
Oh,
Does
yeah, I
it-
forgot about the
Yeah.
Potahawk piss up.
It seems like a good idea at first, but when it's over, you're hungover with a rash. So,
No kidding. Yeah, you got
anyway.
some kind of water bacteria.
And who wouldn't want to sponsor this podcast? And we do it. The podcast is brought to you today, this podcast, this edition,
Yes.
by Never Give Up, the book by Jan Everett, celebrating its 10th anniversary.
Wow.
As this podcast is being released, we're going to tell you more about this book if you've never heard of it.
Yes.
And
it's
if you have
cute.
heard of it, you know how delightful it is.
It
And,
is quite delightful.
and it's based on a true story.
Okay.
So,
Oh,
yes,
good. All
based
right.
on a true
And
story.
it's available in English, French, and Ojibwe.
Yes,
I love
it is.
that.
That is
Cool.
true.
Cute.
But first, it's time for another segment of Dave's Wild Kingdom.
Dave's Wild Kingdom. Okay. Do we have music for this?
No, but we should.
Okay. Right.
Maybe,
Maybe we'll find
maybe something will. Yeah. Do you have any Dave's Wild Kingdom music, Forman?
As a matter of fact,
Thank
I
you.
do.
All right.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Earlier on one of our podcasts, I told you all about poor Pepe Le Pew.
Yes.
Poor,
right. Yeah.
Poor passed away Pepe Le Pew. Pepe Le Pew in the pool.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah.
He didn't last very long,
Yeah,
did he?
that's the skunk.
Yeah.
But I, for some
Gift
reason,
that keeps on giving the whole
that's
year
right.
round.
That's not a great gift. He ended up in my pool. Anyway, I don't know why this particular year. Now, I've dealt with a little wild kingdom in my backyard. And by the way, I live in suburbia. It's not like
Yeah.
I'm not, Rachel's worried about finding chickens close to her home.
How many roosters have you scooped out of that pool?
Apparently, they got rid of the rooster.
Yeah, but
Did I tell you that?
You live outside the city. There's supposed to be roosters
Well, I'm in
there.
a town, like
Yeah.
not in the like.
Why did they hear someone was bitching about it on a podcast?
Maybe.
Maybe they
Maybe
did.
that worked.
Anyway, here's the thing. Most we spend a lot of time outdoors in the summertime. We have a pool, a deck, a little cabana back there, barbecue. The normal things not the normal things. We have a tricked up backyard, and we spend a little time out there. But honestly, it's usually, I would say, when the weather gets warm. So let's say mid-May, if we're lucky, mid-May.
Okay.
To September, and then everybody's like, well, I'm going back to school, or holidays are over, and nobody wants to be outside anymore, and then the pool gets closed. And so I think, and this is what I suspect anyway, that there's not a lot going on in my backyard, say, the end of September, all the way to the end of April. Nothing.
Yeah.
So other than maybe somebody comes out and turns the barbecue on and does a little barbecuing in the dark or in the winter or whatever that may be. But for any animals that maybe frequent this area, they know the Collinses don't come out after September 30th. That place is ours.
We know we can go in this backyard.
He can hang
Nobody
out there.
will bother us.
No one will bother us.
Right. Yeah.
We have free reign. We found a way under the deck. We have.
Have
there's,
they? Oh,
there's
boy.
lots of vegetation to snack on.
Right, yeah.
It's perfect. And then, the fun comes to an end. It's mid-May, and all of a sudden, humans are back in the backyard.
Yes.
And that's problematic.
Yeah.
So I got bunnies. There's always been bunnies running around this area, but for some reason now they've found their way under my deck. So I've been investigating ways to get rid of bunnies under the deck.
We've got bunnies too under the shed. They
Do
live under
you?
the shed, but we like them.
You're potentially boring
The
Rachel.
kid,
at the
yeah,
moment.
I
I
keep
saw
yawning.
that.
I had a terrible sleep last night, and you guys think
Rachel
I yawn.
always
All,
yawns.
I
She
just
always
do it all
yawns
the time.
in the middle
You
of a
thought it
story.
was just a morning
always
show
in the
thing.
middle of a
It's
story.
not.
Anyway,
It's all the time.
so the bunnies are out there, and I've been trying to come up with a solution. I read, like because I have a wild kingdom, I try to, I read how can I, I don't really want to have to fish them out of the pool, and inevitably that sometimes happens.
Yeah,
But
I don't know how you
maybe
get so
there's a
many
way.
animals in your pool. Like we don't. Well, sometimes we get birds.
I don't know. Anyway, so I read. Well, how do I get rid of the rabbits? So if you can find where they come and go, let's say under your deck, it says get some laundry detergent. A dry laundry, so powdered
boy.
laundry detergent, and sprinkle it there, and then it gets on their fur, and it smells, and they hate the smell, and they'll leave. And it should work. It
okay.
should
They don't
work.
eat it though.
No.
Oh,
It
I see. It's
should
just the
work
smell.
for other animals as well that might be under your deck.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
that's interesting because along with, and I've had issues with these guys too, along with the rabbits, the bunnies, there's at least one mouse in particular that I keep seeing. And to the point where I was actually sitting by my little outdoor bar, just sitting. I just got finished cutting the grass.
How do you
And I
know
was
this is the
sitting there.
same mouse?
Well, I don't know that it is, but I have a feeling it is. And I'm sitting there having actually ice cold water, just sitting, chilling out after cutting the grass, and I spy this mouse, and he's about to run under my feet. So I literally said to him, "Hey," and he turned and went the other way. Like him, don't. And
well, at least he listens.
So if you ever have an encounter with a mouse, that works.
Yes,
hey,
you can tell them to go away.
Get lost.
You should have a discussion with Ashley.
Oh yeah.
You have to calmly approach them. And then my wife, on her way to work one morning, came back in. She went, said goodbye. I said, "See ya. We'll see you later."
Ta-ta.
All of a sudden, I hear her come back in, and she goes, "There's a mouse in the garage." I said, "Is it scaring you?" "No, but I don't know what to do about him."
Did
And
you
then
say hey?
I said hey to him, and then she said, "Don't scare him." So now,
Oh my gosh, good for her. I would come into the house and be like, "Jeremy, deal with that immediately."
Yes.
No, she
Yes,
just,
I'm
she
not
familiar.
going back out there until you deal with that.
No,
mouse.
she just said, "Well, I think he's in there, but don't scare him." I'm like, "Okay."
Oh
all right.
God, I'd be like,
Yeah,
scare
so-
the hell out of him and get him out of here.
Yeah.
And then
The door between the house and the garage is locked permanently until
Yep.
that thing is out.
No,
Yes,
no.
till
He
you,
left.
Jeremy,
So
go
he did
deal with
leave.
it.
She
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
"Don't." Like I started to get the broom. She says, "Well, don't hurt him." I'm like, "Okay, well then I'm leaving him be. He'll have to find his own way out. Leave the garage door open." He was gone. He was gone when she came home, so it was
Okay.
fine.
They
and
don't want to
then-
be around you either.
And then she's named the chipmunk in the backyard. So she's given him a name. She calls him Roy.
Bad move.
Yeah.
Well, we actually
Bad
named the
development.
bunnies in our yard.
Yeah,
Well, the girls did.
I don't want to start giving them names. So now I got. So let's do some math here. So, skunk, bunnies, mice.
It's not a
chipmunk-
wildlife
chipmunks.
kingdom. It's just normal outdoor
Oh, yeah.
animals are
and
in your yard.
now the pièce the carte blanche.
Oh,
the
okay.
pièce de résistance.
All right.
I'm cutting the lawn just 3 days ago. I'm cutting the lawn, and I'm on my side lawn. And by the way, on my side lawn, I've noticed there's a couple of areas where all of a sudden the grass is funny. It's not. There is no grass.
You got grubs?
And so I start. I'm going, and all of a sudden I see a thing that resembles a mouse.
Oh no.
A black. About, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches long.
Is it
black.
a rat? Oh my God,
And
it's rats.
and it slithers right away.
Oh,
away.
oh
It's in
my
the
God.
grass. It's in the grass.
No.
And I'm like, son of a.
Do you have snakes?
No.
No.
What is
Does it make a hole?
Yes.
It's
and
a-
tracks.
It's a vole.
It's a vole.
What the hell is a vole?
A vole is something you don't want.
What is
You would
what's a
hate
vole
voles.
versus a mole?
A mole is
Similar.
bigger. They're similar, but
Weasel, vole, mole,
yeah.
whatever.
A mole.
Oh,
a mole.
no.
I did some research on this too. Moles are meat eaters, so they'll go after insects, and voles are vegetarians.
Okay.
They love your grass.
Right.
The roots of your grass.
The roots
from
of your
underneath.
grass.
Since your
So they-
grass is the best in the
Well,
neighborhood.
I wouldn't go that far. Anyway, so I see this guy, and I'm like, son of a. So that's right by my hedge, and I think, was he living in the hedge? I don't know. Is he in the hedge? I don't know where he is. And then just 2 days ago, while barbecuing and doing something later in the afternoon, early evening in the backyard, I see another one, or maybe the same one, right by my deck. And I'm like, yes.
So how do you get rid of them?
Well, this
Laundry
is interesting.
detergent?
Yeah. Now, the problem with the laundry detergent one, by the way, that I didn't mention, the powdered, let's say Tide, whatever, you can't buy that anymore because everybody uses liquid.
Right, you got to
laundry
stick a
detergent.
Tide Pod down.
Oh.
the hole.
Yeah, it just doesn't work.
Really?
It's
They
so
do?
hard to
Okay.
find powdered
Is it?
detergent. Yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
we haven't really dealt with that yet, and now I've got this. So the balls, interestingly enough, here's what you need to do. It would work on Rachel, actually. This would work on you. You get
To deter me?
equal parts water and dish soap.
Yeah.
And what you do is you get hot peppers.
Hey.
Oh,
And you
okay,
chop
yeah, that
up
would-
hot peppers. Chop
That would
them up.
deter me. You're right.
Chop up some hot peppers.
Yeah.
Put them in a container that you like a spray bottle with the water and the soap.
Oh,
and then
okay.
you spray where the bulls. Apparently, they don't like hot
Interesting.
peppers. Yeah. Yeah. So how
Well,
about that?
that's not many
I'll let you
people
know.
do.
Yeah.
That would also deter. You're right. I would stop digging in your grass too. That was.
I
me.
think
Right.
the fact that there's a vole out there has already deterred you from even going anywhere near my grass.
You know what you should do is spray that mixture all around the holes that the big bad company comes to dig. the evil empire.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
See if it deters them
No.
from digging in your grass.
Yeah, that would be awesome
That
if
would
that
be,
worked.
yeah.
I'll bet it doesn't. This is Due to Underwhelming Demand, the professional podcast, which is with Dave, Rachel, and
Is
Forman,
there such a thing?
which this week is brought to you by the book Never Give Up by Jan Everett, which is celebrating its 10th birthday this very week. Let me
cute.
explain a little bit. We're going to tell you a little bit about this book. I
Okay.
happen to know Jan Everett very well.
Okay.
We used to be related at one time. At one
How?
time.
Did you give each other rings of some sort?
Yeah.
Oh.
We did. And then, things go the way they go, but we are still incredibly good friends.
Yeah.
And Jan married a wonderful guy whose name is John. And John Everett. And John, when he was his parents used to take him to Long Point, to a cottage on Long Point when he was a kid. And he used to notice on the causeway, if you know anything about Long Point, and I've been there a number of times now because John and Jan live there. They have a beautiful cottage in Long Point. And if you know anything about the causeway there, it's a very long, I'm trying to remember, it's like 3.5 kilometers, I think. And turtles cross that road all the time. All the time. They go from one side of the road to the other, to lay eggs or to swim for the summer. And in the fall, they cross the road to hibernate. Now, it takes a turtle about 11 minutes to cross the road.
11 minutes.
Yeah. And in the summer at Long Point, 8,000 cars a day use the road.
Yeah,
so
it's
that
busy.
gives you a little math on what could happen. So John, when he was a kid, would try to save turtles. And then John and Jan, when they bought their cottage in Long Point, they had a habit of saving turtles. They liked to do it, and they saved lots of turtles in their time. And so for his birthday 10 years ago, Jan decided she had never drawn a picture in her life. She had never illustrated a book. She had never written a book in her life. She decided to write a book based on John saving turtles, and she called it Never Give Up.
Cute.
And it's all
That's
about
a great idea.
little Johnny who saves turtles who are trying to cross the road.
Aww.
And it's also a metaphor for never giving up on anything.
Sure.
And
yes.
so that's the book. It's called Never Give Up. It's a children's book. It's delightful. You guys have a copy of it. You've read it,
Yep.
Rachel?
Yes, it's very cute, actually. And I didn't know that now this book is raising money to help save the turtles, because a group of local citizens in Long Point has raised $2.5 million now to build tunnels under the Causeway Road.
I've seen them.
And they have adopted this book because it has the same theme. And so now proceeds of the book go towards maintaining these tunnels and keep on, so they can keep on saving the turtles. And the turtles will be okay. I also didn't know that turtles are nature's vacuum cleaners. This is what John's told us. Turtles are nature's vacuum cleaners and janitors. They eat the dead vegetation and animal remains and take harmful bacteria out of the water we drink. And 8 million people drink the water out of Lake Erie.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
So that's why you should save the turtles, right?
Yes. It's very important
It's
to
really
save the
cute.
turtles.
That's very cute.
Now, you mentioned the proceeds from this book have gone towards maintaining the tunnels and all of that stuff. Jan has sold over 5,000 books worldwide since it was published in 2013.
Wow.
Just as a gift. It was just done as a birthday gift.
This wasn't intentional to make money, right?
No, and it
Right.
was just intended for John for his birthday, but then John and John sort of took it and ran with it. So now they travel all over this area. Jan reads the book to the kids and parents, and then John gives a demonstration on how to save turtles and safely get them across the road. They love doing it. They appear all over the place. They're so good at it, too.
They're going to be at Longwoods Conservation this summer, the Chatham-Kent Water Festival this summer as well. And it's all free to do this presentation, which is really great.
Cute.
Yeah.
I love it. So you can buy the book. It's only $9.99. It's very affordable at the South London chapters, the locally made marketplace in Wortley Village, Sheer Creations, Highway 59, Port Rowan, or you can email jan.everett with 2 T's, number 4 @gmail.com.
And they'll be happy to get you a copy of Never Give Up, which is a great book. And by the way, it's also Never Give Up is also available at Friends of Stores at the Pinery, McGregor Point, Rondo, Bon Echo, Algonquin, and Point Pelee National Park.
I love
so it's
it.
available all over the place. Get the book and read about turtles and saving turtles because it's fun.
And why you should, yeah.
I didn't know anything about saving turtles until I spent enough time with John and Jan, and now I know all kinds of things about turtles.
10 years old, this book. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations, and thank you for sponsoring. They feel like this is the perfect spot for Never Give Up because we're the podcast that never gives up. So,
well,
even though maybe we should.
Maybe we should.
We've been told that we should, but anyway, it's a book, by the way, for all children of all ages.
Yes,
Never Give Up. Thank you for being a sponsor. This is Due to Underwhelming Demand, the podcast Forman. That's
kind of like celebrating Canada Day in Halifax.
Oh.
You think it's going to be all fun and games, but really it's just crowds, BO, traffic, fog, rain, and canceled fireworks.
That is our podcast in a nutshell. You are correct.
Oh, our whole thing. Wow.
Yeah, you are
fog,
correct.
rain, BO, canceled fireworks. Yeah.
So
what a disappointment.
Yeah. Well,
Canada Day in Halifax.
Yeah, it was so much fun. The snowbirds couldn't even fly. It was too much fog. It's just days and days of rain and fog and rain.
I did see some of your pictures, and I was like, that doesn't look like a very nice day.
No, we even took, like London will do it. Like, the buses are free for certain holidays and things. So we took the ferry to, the best thing about the ferry is kind of like being in Windsor. You get a great view of Detroit, right?
Sure, yeah.
So when you take the ferry to Dartmouth, you get a beautiful view of downtown Halifax.
Right.
Except on Canada Day, where it's just pure fog.
you
couldn't even see
anything.
other boat. You couldn't see the other ferry passing back and forth. It was just thick, soupy fog.
Really?
It's awful.
Delightful.
Yeah. So why is that the day where we got big, huge honking crowds and that sticky, wet, disgusting weather, and everyone decides apparently not to wear deodorant?
Was it hot? Was it humid?
Yes.
Wait a second. Everyone?
Well, enough people to make you think everywhere you went, like, good grief. We need, when people start handing out free junk, free flags and things, not that a flag is junk, but, there's always free stuff getting handed out at any Canada Day celebration. You think someone needs to come out here with a little travel-sized deodorants and force people to put it on. Like, apply and reapply.
Really?
Just like sunscreen.
Wow.
Just keep applying.
It smelled that bad, like everywhere you walked.
Was there maybe
and you're on the
something,
water, so it's breezy.
I mean, on the radio, there's pretty much. I mean, on the radio, you got to make it a habit. Like a little inside thing about people when we're on the radio was we try to know what's going on. Yeah. Maybe you missed a memo or something, Forman. Maybe you missed maybe it was supposed to be a deodorant-free day in Halifax. I mean, who knows?
Mm-hmm. There is a case now. Just last week, CNN has a whole editorial saying. The title is, Do You Really Need Deodorant?
Wow.
What?
Really?
Why?
Well.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you should wear it. I mean, back in the day, like medieval times, they didn't really wear that. They didn't bathe. I don't know how they could stand each other.
How do you know all this, Rachel?
Well, I don't know. It's just history. People didn't bathe very often, and they certainly didn't have deodorant.
Well, you're right. I mean, because it says, despite the commonly accepted reasons why people wear deodorant, natural body odor isn't necessarily considered unpleasant by everyone.
You would beg to differ?
I would beg to differ.
Mm-hmm. Ahead of his return from a military campaign, Napoleon is said to have written to his wife that he would be home in 3 days and that she should not wash herself before then because he wanted to smell his way to love.
Okay, well, now we're getting into a very gray area.
I don't need to smell that. Love doesn't smell for me.
Well,
I don't think
it doesn't, Rachel.
Maybe they had different societal norms back then. I guess they must have, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because isn't that why, like, history tells us that this is why brides carried flower bouquets because to mask their smells or something like that?
You mean they stunk when they walked down the aisle?
I think so. Yeah.
I'm sure George Washington's face full of wooden teeth didn't smell that great either.
Wooden teeth. Oh,
right.
Boy.
And now they're saying, some people are choosing maybe to go without deodorant. And one of these dermatologist experts says, if you stop wearing deodorant or antiperspirant, you can actually develop a stronger odor over time. It's not
I
like
bet
your
you
body
do.
acclimatizes to not wearing
gets
it, and
worse.
and even it actually gets worse.
Right. That's not good.
Case in point, standing in the ferry terminal in Halifax on Canada Day.
Oh, that's
Like
yeah,
you just
that's-
can't breathe in these crowds.
that sounds terrible.
So even
That's-
outdoors,
Gotta
you can't
just
breathe.
be like a couple people, and it's so
Ah.
bad, right? Like, really, couldn't have been everybody. Was everybody sweating because it was so hot? Like,
Well,
it was
you
really
had
hot
rounds
here.
of it because it was so foggy and wet that you had rounds of sweating and rounds of being freezing cold, and hot
right,
and cold
then
at the
it's
same
just-
time.
Yeah, it
Whoa.
was just it's a weird weather. Weird day makes you kind of sweat, but then you're cold, so you need a
But who's
shirt or
like if
sweater
I
on,
can,
maybe.
you can smell that yourself. It's like when it's bad enough. Oh, if I can smell myself, it must be really bad. Yeah, maybe stop
yes.
into a convenience store
Yes.
and reapply.
Yes.
I don't understand how
Well,
people
wait.
can
But I don't
knowingly
think
go
you
about
smell-
public like that.
I don't think you smell yourself if you're like you're right on the boardwalk there. You're on the water. Like I've been there. I know where you are.
Yeah.
So it's kind of breezy a little bit,
Yes.
right? It wouldn't. You're not like sitting in your
Smells
own.
like fish.
You're outside.
That's what I
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Turns out it smells like people.
Maybe they smell.
If
the
it's
fish more than-
overpowering the fish, then that's
then that's
serious.
bad.
That's serious. Listen,
That should be your next radio
Would-
promo. You just get a
Sure.
whole bunch of little deodorant
Yes.
sticks. And you hand those
Slap
out.
a logo on
Slap
them.
a
That's
logo
what
on
you do.
it.
That's
There
what
you
I
go.
I
That's
could
what you
never
need.
understand what we were thinking when we remember we would do Rock the Park and we would have meetings about what are we going to do, what do we want to do when we're down there.
Yeah.
Do we want to hand out hats? Do we want to hand out that? Why didn't we hand out deodorant?
We should
My
have, because
goodness.
that was every time we did Rock the Park, it was
Yeah.
blistering hot.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it either thunderstormed or it was just overwhelmingly hot, and we should have done that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and to be
Everybody's
honest,
smashed together at the front of the stage, and
sure,
it's terrible.
exactly. No,
Yeah.
this is why I hear what you're saying, Forman. To me, and I'm sure that you can come up with with an excuse to not put deodorant on, I suppose, like I can't reach or I can't do. But honestly, it's so easy to put on deodorant.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there appears to be a level of I can understand where maybe you don't want to shower today because it takes a little longer. It
Right.
takes a little bit of time to shower or whatever, and you don't have time. But if you don't have time to put on deodorant,
If you
I
don't
think-
shower, you certainly need
All the
deodorant.
more reason to slap some more on.
Well, that's
Deodorant
what I
is
think.
different than antiperspirant. You need the antiperspirant that you don't smell. Although there's a lot of people now going to natural deodorant because they don't like the aluminum in the deodorant. So they're using natural deodorant. And
Okay.
I'm skeptical as to if that even works.
I don't know what that means. Natural.
And
deodorant.
as far as I know, there's a lot of hippies in Halifax.
Is there? How do you know
I
this?
think so. I think there's a lot of hippie people. So I think they'd be into that natural stuff.
I see. Okay, I don't know.
What
Is,
a
it-
hippies and
is there a lot of hippies? He lives there. You Foreman, you live there.
I
Are
wouldn't
there?
say the ratio's any more or less than London, to be
Oh, really?
honest.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
but
that
Rachel
was
seems to
my
think there's-
perception when I was there several times.
I was look. I've been to Halifax twice, and I don't recall seeing any hippies at all.
No, usually it's because I was with my sister and she's kind of a hippie. Like she's into that, a lot of
okay.
the natural
Oh, and
which
so-
is fine. And, lots of people are, and you don't have to be a hippie for that. But so maybe she would take me to those places. And that's
Oh,
what I
maybe
saw.
they hang out in.
They
I
hang
see.
out in groups.
See, no wonder Foreman's not.
So
seeing
maybe
it.
a lot
He's
of them
the-
are on natural
Foreman's not a
deodorant,
hippie. Yeah,
and it didn't
okay.
really work.
Okay.
Or it's not powerful enough for a day like that.
It's not powerful enough.
Well, it could have been worse, Foreman. Your day could have ended at the keg. So
That would have been a great day.
no,
Where it
because-
always smells.
Everybody
That's-
wears deodorant at the keg. Let me
Not
tell you
nec-
that.
Not necessarily.
sure do.
Not necessarily. This is Due to Underwhelming Demand, the podcast, which, by the way, has been brought to you this episode by the book Never Give Up by Jan Everett. It's the 10th anniversary of the book, and it's a great little story. You've read it, Rachel. You like the book.
It's very cute. Yeah.
Yeah, book's available, by the way, for $9.99, and portions of the proceeds from the book go to preserving the
tunnels.
habitat. Yeah, the
Yeah.
tunnels for turtles in Long Point.
To get under the causeway so they don't go over and get,
Well, exactly. That's what it's all about.
Right.
This is all, it's based on a true story of, and by the way, John Everett and Jan, who wrote the book, save roughly, I don't know, it
like
says
40 to 50 turtles a year.
A year.
for 20
That's
years.
amazing.
For 20 for
I also
20 years
didn't
they've been
know
doing that.
why you should save turtles. I mean, it's nice, but they apparently eat all the dead like vegetation and animals and stuff like that. They keep the waters clean,
very
in
important.
Lake Erie, and a lot of
very
people
important.
drink the water from Lake Erie, which is processed and filtered.
Rachel
obviously.
really needs her arm twisted to bother wanting to save a turtle, as it turns out.
I know. As it turns out,
And
you
this
should
is the
save
book
them.
to do it.
This is the book. You read
Well,
the
some
I always
arms.
wonder why. Why would
read
you?
the
You know,
book.
what's
You need to
why
save
is that so
them.
important?
Yeah, and
why?
Rachel,
by
who
the-
cares about turtles?
Well,
right.
I wouldn't even look. I wouldn't, but now I
No,
will
I
if
hope you
when I
do.
go to Long Point, because we
That's-
do go.
That's the whole point.
Yes.
By the way, you can buy Never Give Up. It's $9.99. South London chapters, a locally made marketplace, Wortley Village, Sheer Creations, Highway 59, Port Rowan. And you can email jan.everett4@gmail.com. The perfect book for everybody. Get one. Get a
Available
copy.
in English, French, Ojibwe. Target, you'll get the most out of it for anyone who's between the ages 4 and 12, but it's perfect for children of all ages.
Yep. All right. Thank you for sponsoring our podcast. We appreciate it. We certainly do. And we love to hear from you. So if you do listen to the podcast, make sure you email us.
Yeah, we love to get your emails. You can email us just to say hi, just to give us any feedback, your
Sure.
thoughts on an episode or whatever. You can email us to sponsor if you're interested in that. We'll send you some prices. We have various price tiers for every budget. And our email is daverachelforman@gmail.com. There's no E in Foreman. daverachelforman@gmail.com.
If you love turtles,
Yeah.
certainly email and tell Rachel off. I mean, I would.
Yes.
I would. I
Give her
would.
more reasons to save a turtle.
Exactly.
You know what? I had pet turtles when I was a kid.
Did you?
One, and my sister had one, so we had two.
Keyword being had, apparently.
Had is the thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't-
that's too bad.
Don't
That's
clean the
really-
cage in the grass.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
You can
Has
always-
anybody reached out to us this week, Foreman?
Yes, because you can always send us a DM or comment on anything we put on social media too. And you were just talking about how your girls had what a wonderful celebration for the last day of school.
Yes. Yeah.
Graham said that his little guy finished kindergarten for the this year, and then wondered about what's coming up this summer. I'm sure Forman has his kids signed up for horseback riding camp this summer.
Yeah, I'm sure
You know
that's
what?
going to happen.
Foreman's wife owned a horse while you were married. Did she
Two!
not? Two horses.
Really?
Do your girls do horseback riding?
No,
They don't? You both are into horses.
are we?
Yes. The horse just.
Well, Ashley is. I know that.
Well, speaking of things we're into, Dave loves not only working but making public appearances, and you guys did just that.
Yes, we
Yes,
did.
we did.
And it turns out the only person who loves working public appearances more than Dave is Jana Collins,
Yes.
who
yes.
commented on a picture of you guys at a
Yes, she
furniture
did.
thing, saying
said.
he looks so happy when he's working.
Yeah, he was happy. Yeah, that was the lovely people at Work Lovers at Work Furniture. If you are
We had a
if
great
you live
time.
in London, you know them, but there's At Work Furnitures in various places around Ontario, well, kind of Toronto and down. And Rodney Lover asked us to come and MC their 40th anniversary.
So we did.
we were we were part of the MCs.
We were part of the
program.
Part of the program, and there was craft beer and food, and it was
It was
great.
a really
It
great
was a
event.
good party.
You
Good
know what I
party.
noticed being there is that, like, everyone is so happy to be here and work here. Like, what
Yeah.
a great place. Like, the whole vibe was like just
they
very
love it.
positive and kind, and you could tell they treat their staff really well, and the staff love being there, and people have come back and they've been there for decades, and like, it's a great place to work. I just I was floored. It was amazing.
I'll
bet-
have to
And they
take your
were
word for it. I guess in lieu of an invitation to said event.
Yeah,
I
that's
could
right. You
use
didn't
You're
get
a little
invited.
office
far away.
chair.
You know what else about
Well, that's where everybody gets their office furniture.
all of the people that work there love turtles too, which is interesting.
except me,
Yeah,
apparently.
yeah.
Yeah, it was the odd person out. I
Well,
guess.
somebody did bring that up. Yeah.
Last message we have is from Shannon, who sent us a DM on Instagram. I just found your podcast, and I am so happy. I truly missed hearing you all on the radio together for the last almost a year, and I no longer listen to that sad radio station morning show
Oh, I'm sorry.
because I just can't handle
Ouch.
it.
Oh, they're good.
Hey,
they're
look,
doing a good job.
I don't know. I don't. I don't have
I
to
listen
so I don't-
sometimes,
I
and
don't
they're
listen.
great. They're doing a good job.
Good.
Yeah.
Shannon goes on to say, also, Dave, that you will not remember me, but my mom used to work at the HSBC Bank downtown way back when you worked with Jackie. on I don't know what radio station it was because it played music that my mom liked when I was like 10 years old. So I didn't pay attention. But I have honestly listened to you on the radio since I was about 10 years old, and I still listen to you, and I'm 38 years old.
Okay.
So it's
right.
just awesome that you and Rachel and Forman started this podcast. It truly brings me joy to hear your voice.
Oh,
isn't that
thank
nice?
you
Well, thank
so
you.
much.
Well,
That's
you just
so
make,
nice.
I am old and frail. But thank you for bringing that up. That's
I
nice.
also listened to Dave when I was 10 years old.
Okay.
Nearly 30 years.
Yes, it is for me. We have a question from Trudy, and this was for Dave because I know Dave doesn't check the messages.
Okay, I didn't.
She says, this is for Dave, talking about Charlotte taking her G1 on her birthday and being there at 7 a.m. when they opened.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any trouble getting her out of bed that morning?
No, as a matter of fact.
She was ready to go.
She was, yes. There was no trouble. Now, keep in mind, it's very close to Christmas. And I think we'd celebrated with a little birthday party the Sunday before, because I think it was a Monday, I believe, Monday or a Tuesday, I can't remember. So I think we'd had a little party, but she still was up. Yeah, no trouble at all.
She was up and ready to go.
Yeah, she had to be up early that day, really early.
Yes,
but she was
to get down there.
I didn't have any trouble getting her up that day. That's a good point.
Yeah. She also, Trudy's catching up on episodes, it's clearly. She says this week, OMG, I just listened to your episode about TV shows and my fiance still watches Survivor religiously. Every episode of every country that has Survivor.
Wow.
And you are correct. It's not someone who listened to podcasts, but he is still in his 30s.
Amazing.
That's so funny. Well, thank you very much, Trudy. I'm glad you're catching up. I can't wait till you reach this episode and get answers to your questions.
There you go. It might take a while.
I don't know who's wasting more of their time, your fiance or you, Trudy. But
Maybe wasting with us. If you want to send us a message, you can DM us on Facebook or Instagram. We are on YouTube as well now. You can watch full episodes. You can watch our podcast there. We've got clips there too. You can just search Due to Underwhelming Demand, Dave, Rachel, and Forman on YouTube, and you'll find us. Or email us anytime, daverachelforman@gmail.com. We love to hear from you.